he's giving them chances to make it right, and they are spitting in his face. And then when the judgment falls down, they're going to be, "Oh God, what are you talking about? Why are you doing this?" A hearty welcome to the 12 tribes scattered abroad, and to those grafted in. This is the Israelite in America, and today, or tonight rather, tonight for me, it's going to be the daytime when you guys get this video. I wanted you to take a look, like I said we were going to in my last video, I think. Take a bit more of a sweeping look at what is happening to our people currently, because something is going on. Something's been going on, obviously, but there seems to be a concerted, ramped up effort to afflict us as the time draws near for our exodus, I believe. If this sounds interesting to you, then subscribe. Yep, subscribe. I'm gonna put it up on the screen there, and you can support my work. My Cash App is linked in the description below. But let's get into some of these stories, because let me just preface by saying I have not arranged them by the date in which they occurred, so they're not categorized, earliest to newest and whatever. I've just arranged them in a way that works best for me, and I think would work best for you, for your viewing experience. But they're not dated, from earliest to latest. Well, let's get into it. You'll see what I mean as we move on. All right, so the first story. Oh yes, I wanted to say all of these stories have happened within the last 2 months of each other. Okay, so all of this stuff, all of these things that we're about to get into and discuss have happened within just a couple months of each other. Some within a couple weeks, some within a month, some within 2-ish months, but all concerning our people, right? So if you haven't lived under a rock, you've heard about the Roger Fortson shooting, or maybe you haven't actually, because I know some of you guys are still relying on your news from media outlets and such, instead of doing research for yourselves or finding alternative, truly independent reporting / media. But if you have not been living under a rock, then you know about the Roger Fortson shooting. This was a young black man who was in the army, right? Okay. And, well, the story will explain itself, and then we'll do some commentary and move along. Don't know how long this video is going to be. You can skip ahead or whatever, but we're going to unpack some stuff. This is from Air Force Times. I will have links to all the stories below. The fatal shooting of Roger Fortson by a Florida sheriff's deputy when the Air Force senior airman opened his door armed with a handgun pointed down happened almost a month ago at the time of this article. But the information released so far hasn't clarified why the officer was directed to his apartment. We're going to see a couple interesting things, as always with this type of stuff. The Okaloosa, very Floridian county name. The Okaloosa County Sheriff's Office has released the deputy's body camera video of the May 3rd shooting and redacted 911 calls and reports. I wonder why they had to redact them, But not the deputy's name. I wonder why. The victims and... Anyway, the agency also has not said if the deputy has made any statement to investigators. The Florida Department of Law Enforcement is investigating. So, of course, in other words, the police are investigating themselves. So always happens. But since its probe is ongoing, it won't comment. Of course, it's not going to comment. Fortson was black. The deputy's race has not been released. I wonder why. So many I wonder whys. Fortson, 23, had no criminal record. Why is this important to mention here? Why is this important to note? Because our friends, the conservatives, will be all up on this. Well, was he posing a threat to the officer? Did he smoke weed when he was 13 years old? Did he skip school once upon a time? Well, was this man a criminal? That's what the right does. So it's sad, but I also appreciate that this story took the time to note this. Hey, he had no criminal record. He was a squeaky clean citizen. And there is no evidence he was involved in the disturbance that led to the deputy being called to the apartment complex. He wasn't, okay? There's no evidence he wasn't. Fortson was alone in his apartment, and his girlfriend has said she and Fortson were having a normal video conversation when the deputy began pounding on the door. Okay, so model citizen, served in the army, no criminal record, and his life has been taken. I don't think you've heard about this on the normal media outlets. It was not a story that was widely reported on normal media outlets. Okay, I wonder why. Let's go down some key issues here. Okay, why was the deputy at Fortson's apartment? Right, just before 4:25 p.m. on May 3rd, a female employee of the Elin Apartments in the Florida Panhandle community of Fort Walton Beach called the sheriff's office, saying a resident had reported a loud argument that had been going on for 20 minutes. Okay, it was said that it sounded like it was getting physical and that it happens often. So, oh, somebody's arguing. Police, come help! Right? So police come. This woman gave Fortson's fourth floor apartment as the location of the disturbance, but he was home alone. My question is, this employee did not know that? She didn't know that Fortson was alone? She didn't know that the noise wasn't coming from his apartment? Right? And this woman that called was white, by the way, in case there was any doubt about that. She didn't know that his apartment wasn't occupied, and she had the number of his apartment. She knew who was in this was his apartment was where he resided. There's some questions here that need to be answered. They're not going to be, but they need to be. Okay, skip down here. We're not going to spin. We have several stories to cover. So, the deputy arrived about 3 minutes later. According to body camera video, he went into the office where a man directed him to the parking lot. Okay, yada, yada, yada. The deputy asks, are they fighting? Right? The employer responds that it was getting out of hand. The deputy asks which apartment. I don't know, so I'm not sure, she responds. Then, get this now. She then told the deputy that 2 weeks earlier she heard someone yelling and cursing in the apartment, followed by a noise that sounded like a slap, but she hadn't reported it. Okay, hearsay. The deputy again asked which apartment, and this time the woman gave Fortson's apartment number. My question is, she's like, I don't know. Why would she automatically then give the apartment of the black man as the disturbance? Why after saying, oh, I don't know, it's there, but it's an argument with more than one person, and it's happened repeatedly, but she doesn't know which apartment it is. And then when pressed, actually, hey, well, which apartment is it? Oh, try the black man's over there. Because she knows who was in it. She has access to the people to the information of the people that are in the apartments. Oh, try the black man's apartment. You see, it's, and you'll almost miss it if you just at a cursory glance of the story. You almost miss it. But there we have it. There we go. Fortson lived alone and had no visitors at the time of the shooting. Okay, this employee would have known that he lived alone because she has access to the information. That has raised questions over whether the deputy was directed to the wrong apartment. He wasn't directed to the wrong apartment. Not really. Not in what was intended. County 911 dispatch records show deputies had never been called to his apartment before. But if you go back up in the story, this is a disturbance that regularly happens. Right, it's regular. But oh my gosh. I can't linger on one story too long. This is probably going to be a long video. You can skip ahead to parts you want to see. I may or may not put timestamps. One of you guys can put timestamps if you like. I don't promise to put timestamps. Again, important information. A 911 call made by a resident, apparently just after the fatal shooting, referenced arguing between a man and woman in an apartment where a child lives. This sounds like the ongoing disturbance that had been reported several times before. Why this woman directed the officers to Mr. Fortson's apartment is anyone's guess. All right, and very quickly, we'll just go through what happened at the door because, some of you, I'm sure a lot of you know, some of you may not. We might have some new people here. So before we move on to the next story, the deputy arrived outside Fortson's door less than 3 minutes after he got to the complex. He listened silently for 20 seconds outside, but no voices inside are heard on his body camera. So he's just the officer standing there. No, he hears nothing, right? Not hearing any argument, none of this, no evidence of the commotion that the lady told him was happening. He then pounded on the door. He then pounded on the door, but didn't identify himself. He then moved to the side of the door about 5 feet away. So he's like, I don't have anything to knock on. He's like, I'm actually banging on the door, but I can't do it on the microphone. He's just banging on the door. Doesn't identify himself. What are you going to think? What are you going to think when someone just comes randomly banging on your door? Doesn't announce themselves, they just start banging on your door. What are you going to think? All these details are important. All right. He waited 15 seconds before pounding on the door again. This time he yelled, "Sheriff's office, open the door." All right. So he came to the door already banging aggressively. So you're in an apartment, you don't know who's doing that. Then they're like, well, the sheriff's office. Could be the sheriff's office. Could not be the sheriff's office. You don't know. Less than 10 seconds later, he moved back in front of the door and pounded again, announcing himself once more. Fortson opened the door. His legally purchased gun. I appreciate the writing of this story. His legally purchased gun in his right hand. It was at his side, pointing to the ground. The deputy said, "Step back," then immediately began firing. Fortson fell backward onto the floor. Only then did the deputy yell, "Drop the gun." And you know the rest. I'm not going to show the body cam footage, obviously, but you can find it. Mr. Fortson opens the door. Gun is held down at his side. Right? He doesn't know who's at the door. He's heard someone say police. He doesn't know that whether it's true or not. He heard someone just randomly banging on his door for no reason, is what all he knows. Opens the door, has the gun held down at his side. Cop has his gun too, mind you, right? Cop sees nothing more than an armed black man, shoots him, fills him full of holes, and tragically, Mr. Fortson is no longer with us. Right? Okay, so that's the first story. And in case you're wondering, no, the officer has not been charged. Of course, he's not been charged. And, no justice has been done. No justice has been served. Officers walking around free. Whereas, of course, if you or I had seen someone in their own home with their legally purchased firearm and we had just filled them full of lead for no reason, we would be rotting away in prison. This did not need to happen. Moving on to another story. I know some of you guys have heard this one. Some of you have not. Wisconsin dad tells cops why he pushed superintendent off stage so he couldn't shake his daughter's hand. This one is nobody died, but this is so blatant that it's almost comedic. Okay, and I'll give you guys some context in a sec. A new police report details a white father's explanation to cops for why he shoved a black school superintendent off a Wisconsin graduation stage to stop him from shaking his graduating daughter's hand. So, basically, there was a white girl was graduating, and a black superintendent, male, went up on the stage, along with all the other school officials, to shake her hand. White daddy didn't like it, rushed up on stage, and assaulted this man, basically. Let's continue. The scandal began on May 31st. See, I told you all these stories are very within the last couple months. When Matthew Eddy walked onto the stage at Baraboo High School's graduation as his daughter was shaking hands with school officials. So she was shaking hands. She was already shaking hands with all the other school officials who were white. And it's only once the black man comes up, which we'll play the video actually in a second. I will play this video. As she approached Superintendent Rainey Briggs, who was black, the father jumped on stage, grabbed the superintendent by his arm, and dragged him away from his daughter. Viral video of the incident shows. See, I tell you, it's almost comedic. He put both his hands on me to push me out of the way, stating, "You are not going to touch my expletive daughter," Briggs told police. At that time, I created space and stated, "Get your hands off me." Now Eddy has been charged with disorderly conduct, and Briggs has filed a restraining order against the man. The police report obtained by local news says Eddy told officers he had past issues with Rainey and dislikes him. That's it, huh? What past issues? He didn't tell the police, well, this man has a history of, I don't know, creeping on my daughter. This man and I have a bad history. We have had bad business or bad blood. There's something, nothing specific that he could point to. He's just like, I have issues. He didn't say that the two of us have issues. The guy said, the white guy, the assaulter said he had past issues with Rainey. He's like, I have issues with him. I don't like him. That's it. I just didn't like him. Now, you will have people that will be on here, well, bro, he just said he didn't like him. It's his daughter, man. Maybe he just didn't like him. Not everything is about race. You know, wicked people and simpletons like that will be all up in here saying, well, maybe not up in here, but up in other when this story broke out, people were saying that. Doesn't take a high IQ to realize what's going on here. Eddie told police he wanted to prevent Rainey from having the satisfaction of shaking his daughter's hand. So he went onto the stage to prevent that from happening. All right, I'm not going to read any more of that story. Let's play the video. And then hold on though, because YouTube be messing with me. So hold on a second. Fair use notice. All right, YouTube, fair use notice. The following program contains content that may be protected under copyright. We believe the use of this content helps fulfill the intention of copyright law to stimulate creativity for the enrichment of the general public. Okay? Fair use notice. Yes, I have to say that. All right.
Elise, Kathleen, Eddie.
Okay, watch this.
Oh.
You're not.
Excuse me. Where's Brandon?
Look at that. Hold on. Look at it. He just comes up, assaults the man. Manhandle. That's assault. By legal definition, that's assault. Why is this in the way? Dude comes up, randomly comes up. Look at all these people. These are all school officials, whatnot, white school officials shaking his daughter's hand. This man rushes on stage, grips this guy's arm, grips the brother's arm right here, and pushes him off stage. Manhandles him off stage, right? Assaults him in public. How much of a how much hatred do you have to have in your heart to publicly humiliate and ruin your daughter's day? How much of a scumbag do you got to be that your hatred is so strong that I just didn't want him to shake her hand. I couldn't have that you know what shaking her hand, man. Ruin the girl's day.
Oh.
Excuse me.
Where's Brandon?
Get away from me, bro.
No.
Hey, go.
Get away from me, man. Get off me.
Walk away.
Out right now. I don't care. Get off the stage right now.
Elise, Kathleen, Eddie.
He's like, get off me. Get off me, man. Get off. Now, let me just say, those who know, if the superintendent, right? Let me go back right here. Hold on. If the superintendent had, wait, what are you, and swung on him. Like, what are you doing, man? And swung on the dad right then and there, right? Because he has come up and assaulted him for no reason, right? This guy's minding his own business about doing his job, actually. Minding his business and doing his job. This racist comes up on here, right? If at that point in time, the black man had gone, get off me, and swung at this man, as he would have been fully justified to do, who do you think would be going down on assault charges? Do you think that the superintendent would have gotten away without any charges? And for those of you who are saying, no, he wouldn't have had any charges, it would have been clear self-defense. Remember the gentleman from the Montgomery Brawl who was defending himself and doing his job, and he still got charged with assault. And to just add some more context, right, to this school, I'm not going to go into all the history of this school too much. I can't cover everything. But this same high school made headlines in 2018, right, when a group of students performed the forbidden word, the other forbidden N-word, rhymes with paparazzi, salute in a photo. All right, so in 2018, these students of a certain complexion were doing this forbidden salute for some reason. Some reason, I say. Why are they so angry? Why are they so upset with us recently? Why, at every turn, is the rage seeming to just bubble up so much that it's affecting literally their daily interactions now with us. Our day-to-day things that we're doing. We're minding our own business. And people are so upset, certain people are so upset that they can't contain the hatred in so much that they will ruin their child's graduation. What is going on? Moving on to the next story. All right, and I'm not going to spend too much time on this one, but because this is I have my thoughts on this one. Trad wife, this is from the Daily Beast. Trad wife, quote unquote, TikToker axed from job after casually saying N-word. And this is the face of. I'm not gonna say anything. I'm gonna leave it be. I'm not gonna say anything. The white trad wife TikToker who casually dropped the N-word in a cooking video that went viral Monday is already paying for her ignorance with her employer, Rolf of the Carolinas, announcing it had let her go with immediate effect on Tuesday. And of course, this date is, what is this story? This is from June 11th. The woman at the center of the controversy, Lily Gaddis, I guess? I would say Gaddis because it's 2 Ds. Gaddis referred to her friend's husband as broke A N-words in the clip, dropping the racial slur in a slight southern drawl so naturally, many speculated she must use it in casual conversation. Of course she does. Of course she does. And of course, so many such people do. Nothing new. All right, I'm not gonna play the video because she curses somewhere in the video, and I'm not about to get flagged for that. But you guys can go watch this video on the page that I'll link. Right, so she say, "Oh, all my friends are married to broke A N-words," right, and it goes viral. Gaddis, whose TikTok account was taken down by Tuesday evening, boasts 50,000 followers on X. On that platform, she showed no remorse for her comment and instead reshared posts from right-wing influencers who rushed to defend her hate speech. "If my freedom of speech is taken, they'll be coming for yours next," she posted Monday night, not long after posting a clip where she said she couldn't find a care for the outrage she induced. Right? Now, I'm not even going to bother to read more of this. Oh, wait, hold on. "Thanks, Black community, for helping to launch my new career in conservative media," she wrote on X. "You all played your role well like the puppets you are." Okay? And I do want to say something there. No, not to the played our role like puppets, because we are completely justified to be upset by this garbage, right? Completely justified. I saw people that were saying, "Oh, don't give it any attention. Don't say anything. We're just fueling the fire." And I'm like, stuff like this needs attention. Stuff like this has to be called out, because if we just don't call it out and just, keep our heads down and whatnot, it does nothing more than feeds the fires anyway. We're kind of, blasted if we do, blasted if we don't kind of situation. But I did want to say, there's truth to this right here. "Thanks, Black community, for helping to launch my new career in conservative media." Right? So this girl goes viral for saying the N-word casually and purposefully. I wouldn't say casually. I would say purposefully, because it was a purposeful thing. On a random TikTok vid, she goes viral, and I kid you not, the next day, social media was awash, just awash, with right-wingers, conservatives, just posting the N-word all day long. Up and down. Up and down. I don't have screenshots on my computer, but I think I have some on my phone. I may try and add some or do a little separate thing where I add some. But there were right-wing influencers just, "Hey, good morning, my N-word. Hey, what's up, my N-word? Oh, I'm a broke N-word. Oh, I know so many broke N-words." Just all day off the cuff from this girl. And they had her on. Conservative influencers suddenly were just, "Hey, we should have her on our show. Hey, white girl that said the N-word and went viral, come on our show and let's talk and laugh and poke at how easily offended these Negroes are. Ha 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 ha." And it was a laugh fest. In other words, sick, demonic behavior. Demonic behavior. Now, there are some reasons why I believe that this particular story was not organic. I believe this particular story was a fake out. You know, there's another word for it, but I don't want to get flagged. I believe this particular incident was a fake out, was designed and pushed purposefully to elicit a response and to mock and shame us, among other things. But it was not an organic thing. And this girl, she now has a bunch of followers on X, which has not banned her. And conservatives have been having her on all over their shows. And if the N-word has just been flying around from these people's mouths now crazily. It's like resurged in the public because it never went away in behind closed doors. But in the public, it is now just resurged, and they are throwing it around willy-nilly. I mean, any black person that says anything that they don't like, they're oh, you're just an N-word. Literally, that's no exaggeration. But yeah, this particular story was not organic. Moving on to yet more stories. Remember, all this stuff is happening within this 2-month period, right? This is June 11th. The other stories were from May. Yeah, the other two were from May, right? All this is happening within these last couple months. Now here's a bigger one. Here's a big one. This is a big one. And I did a short video on this. Oklahoma Supreme Court rejects reparations for Tulsa race massacre. Now, what I didn't go into a whole bunch of detail on that little short video that I did, but we can go to a bit more detail here. This is very interesting stuff and very poignant. Listen, the Most High is giving these people a chance. Not a chance, he's giving them chances. He's giving them chances to make it right. He's giving them chances to make it right, and they are spitting in his face. And then when the judgment falls down, they're going to be, "Oh God, what are you talking about? Why are you doing this? Have we not done this in your name?" Blah 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 blah. But I'm getting a little ahead of myself. Let's read some of the details of this thing, because details is important. It's not just enough to see a headline. This was published June 21st, right? The actual ruling was before this, but this was published June 21st. The decision is the latest and perhaps final blow to the massacre's 2 remaining survivors. Survivors in their decades-long quest for justice. Because remember one of the rights and other people's, but the rights specifically, one of their biggest rallying calls against reparations is, "Well, you weren't alive. No, you weren't alive back then. Why should you get paid for something you weren't alive for?" Even though they don't say that to the natives, the Native Americans or the Khazars or anyone else that gets reparations. But these people were alive. In 1921, the Tulsa Race Massacre claimed the lives of an estimated 300 black Oklahomans. Yes, it did. The riot was triggered by false, key word there, false allegations that a young black man working as a shoe shiner had assaulted a white woman in an elevator. That's how a lot of these things started back in the day, and still do. But these large-scale riots, a lot of them started, or riots and lynchings, a lot of them started with black men being falsely accused, and black women, obviously black women, but especially black men, accused falsely. The white mob that assembled acted with the explicit support of Tulsa city officials. Key points, right? So they didn't just go on their own volition without any backing, any backup, any support, right? They had the support of the Tulsa city officials. That's key. Over 24 hours from May 31st to June 1st, the mob decimated the vibrant Greenwood neighborhood, nicknamed Black Wall Street, because of the many prosperous black-owned businesses lining its streets. Pull yourself up by the bootstraps, they say. Just do the work. My great-great-grandparents made it. My whoever made it. We worked and got to where we were. Why can't you do the same? History continues to show every time black people try to do the same, every time black people try to, quote-unquote, lift themselves up by the bootstrap, quote-unquote, work hard, quote-unquote, do things the right way, this is what happens. Successful businesses, well, we need an excuse to get rid of it. Well, or you assaulted someone. Yeah, you go burn down the businesses. Did they just did they just go and lynch the supposed guilty young black man that was innocent? Did they just go and get him? No, they go and burn down the whole Wall Street just because of on the pretext of, well, he assaulted this girl, so now we got to go destroy the whole neighborhood. Yeah. Demonic. Even though the massacre was more than a century ago, at least two of the thousands of black residents injured and displaced by the riot are still alive. Right? Walla Fletcher, age 110. My goodness, she held on. Leslie Benningfield Randall, age 109. She held on too. They were there when Black Wall Street burned, right? So they were alive. They survived. They saw everything happening, right? They were there. The massacre forced Fletcher and her family to abruptly flee their home, losing everything. Likewise, Randall's home was razed by white rioters during the riot. The losses that their families and community experienced as a result of the massacre have affected the women both emotionally and financially throughout their long lives. Of course, why would it do that, right? Right? Why? I'll tell you why. No person or institution has ever been held legally accountable for the injuries arising from the riot. Of the individual survivors and affected businesses, historians believe that only a single white business owner received compensation, either through the courts or through insurance claims. Wow, huh? Wow, how about that? For decades, government officials tried to paper over the events. Students in Oklahoma schools did not learn about the massacre as part of their state history lessons. Of course not. No, just learn about the brave men on D-Day and all that stuff. Let's go down a little bit. Last week, the Oklahoma justice system delivered another, perhaps final blow to the massacre's victims. In an 8-1 vote in Randall v. City of Tulsa, the state Supreme Court affirmed the dismissal of the survivors' claims for compensation under state tort doctrines of public nuisance and unjust enrichment. The survivors' attorneys have said that they will seek a rehearing before the High Court, but that effort is an uphill battle. While one of the 9 justices, James Edmondson, did render a partial dissent, he did not write an opinion to explain his position. So that... oh, wicked. All right, let's go down a little bit because there are some other details that are important for this to paint you a proper picture. For more than a century, social oppression, legislative inaction, and judicial impotence have stymied the plaintiffs at every turn. Right? Unaware of their rights and unable to enforce them in the Jim Crow era, the system of legal... When they eventually attempted to use civil rights laws to pursue their remedies, the federal court said that it was too late and refused to waive the statute of limitations barring their claims. So they couldn't access their rights of restitution beforehand, right? They could not they couldn't sue anyone because they were under Jim Crow, right? So they couldn't. They literally could not. And now, once Jim Crow passed and they were made aware of what they could actually do, then the courts were like, well, no, just no. Too bad for you. Too bad, so sad. And they will tell us that systemic racism does not exist. They will read this, and they will look you in the eye and say, no, you're not any. Your people didn't have it any harder than anyone else. No. Racism is not baked into the system of government and justice and every level of our society. No. The plaintiffs and their attorneys found a sliver of hope in 2019 when a lower court in Oklahoma ruled that drug manufacturers, listen to this, could be held liable under a public nuisance theory for damage caused by the state's opioid epidemic. So they're like, you know what? These drug manufacturers, you guys can face legal action under public nuisance, right? Under public nuisance. Interesting. Why is this important? Drawing on that precedent, in 2020, the plaintiffs filed a lawsuit because they couldn't get it through any other way, right? Because they were, well, your statute of limitations. The plaintiffs filed a lawsuit in state court stating claims of public nuisance. Right there, because they just said, well, yeah, you guys can be liable for public nuisance, right? And unjust enrichment. Theories that would not run afoul of statute of limitation issues because they are based on ongoing harms. The plaintiff, listen to this, the plaintiffs argued that the defendants, who included the city of Tulsa and other government entities, because remember, the rioters had the support of Tulsa city officials. Remember that. Created a public nuisance in the century since the massacre by thwarting the community's efforts to rebuild, which they did, and destroying the plaintiffs' sense of comfort, health, and safety in their lives and property, which they did. The plaintiffs also argued, listen, that Tulsa's promotion of tourism to the former Black Wall Street area and defendants profiting from a massacre in which they participated without any compensation to the affected individuals was grossly inequitable and constituted unjust enrichment. So the city of Tulsa was using Black Wall Street as a tourist attraction. Hey, come see Black Wall Street. Look at this piece of history. Look at that. Look, Black Wall Street, and promoting it for tourism. Right? Always find a way to benefit. They always find a way to benefit, but they stop us from benefiting at every turn. So the city was finding a way to benefit monetarily from this, and still wouldn't do anything for the people, the victims. Right? So now they filed. So they filed in 2020. However, in 2021, the Oklahoma Supreme Court reversed the lower court's opioid ruling that the Tulsa Massacre plaintiffs relied on. I wonder why they suddenly just reversed that ruling. It was fine. It was good to go, right? It was good to go. And then these Negroes said, well, I'll use the law that they put out. That I'll use the law that they've said, hey, this is, you can do this. What happens when we try to use the law? What happens when we try to go the quote-unquote legal way? They change the laws. They move the goalposts. We try to advance. They pull the rug out from under our feet. So they changed. They changed the policy, right? And the court reiterated that position when it dismissed the Tulsa Race Massacre case, characterizing the plaintiffs' claims as policy concerns and adopting a narrow view of the court's capacity to address them under the public nuisance. Blah, blah, blah. Right? So they dismissed it on those grounds. Why? Because they were getting close to getting something. We were getting close to getting some form of justice, and we can't have that. Get rid of it. Even though Oklahoma, as I said in my other short video about this subject, offers reparations on the daily to Native Americans, none of which, mind you, who were alive during the Trail of Tears, none of which who marched from Georgia to Oklahoma, right? None of whom do that. Yet they had economic impact payments during C-19 that were just for them. They have free health care just for them, facilities just for them, their own police force, right? Tribal meetings just for them. But this was too much. Not the Negro. Now, I want to read something really before we go to the next story, because it ties into it, right? The case is one of many ongoing efforts nationwide to secure reparative justice for race-based wrongs of the past, including slavery. But it's not just limited to slavery, right? It is not just limited to slavery. The people want to say, oh, just slavery. No, it's not just slavery. It is slavery, and then it's the black codes that followed thereafter, and then it's Jim Crow, segregation, redlining, lynchings, and a host of other things. It is not just slavery. It's not just slavery. Slavery is just the first part, so to speak. States, including California and New York, and many local governments have established reparations commissions, which mean nothing right now. A commission doesn't mean anything. Not really. It's just that, we're thinking about doing something is what it is. To examine possible responses to the effects of historic racism. But they don't have to do that with the natives. They don't have to do that with the Japanese. They don't have to do that with the Khazars. I mean the Jedi. Ben Shapiro's people. Some municipalities have even implemented concrete reparations programs, most notably Evanston, Illinois, right? And we're about to talk about this one, which in 2019 became the first city in the country to offer monetary grants to black residents for its discriminatory housing policies from 1919 to 1969, right? We're about to read about that right now. But I just want to say something about this. Yes, it is, there are cities that are talking about, cities and states that are talking about reparations. Mind you, Most of them haven't done anything concrete, right? Not really. There have been a few gestures here and there, like in that couple, that family in California who had property restored to them. That was just one family, right? En masse, nothing has actually been done. But I have a theory about that. And actually, Minister Yacoba talked about it the other day, I don't know, a couple weeks ago. They know we're getting reparations, right? They know, the people that are in charge, the powers that be, know that we are going to get our reparations, that they're going to have to pay up when we leave, right? They know this. So the fact that they're not, it's not like they just had a change of heart, like suddenly, all these people that hate us just suddenly, hey, we should actually do reparations. We should actually pay them. It's not like they just had a change of heart. They know that we're getting reparations, whether they agree or not, whether they want to or not, and they don't want to. Don't get it. Do not get it wrong. They don't want to, but they know that they're gonna have to. And all this reparations business, the Most High is giving these people a chance to do the right thing. He is giving them a chance. Listen, you guys have paid this group of people. You've paid that group of people. You are still paying these groups of people. You need to make restitution to my people. Here is your chance. Chance after chance after chance. And they are saying, no, no, no. But the people that are in charge, they know. And it's getting closer and closer. Our payout, because we are getting paid. We are getting paid. In what form exactly that will take, whether it's going to be, gold, silver, something digital, cash, whatever. We are going to get paid. And the ones that are in charge know this. And still they are holding out. It's an exciting time. It's an exciting time, but this stuff needs to be put on blast and shown. Because when they're like, well, no, we didn't do anything. We tried to help, the blacks. We tried. They just sweep the stuff under the rug like they tried to sweep the Tulsa Race Massacre under the rug. Oh, and also, I just want to show what this is the Oklahoma Supreme Court, right? By the way, these are the justices on the Supreme Court. This guy right here, I keep saying, not all skin folk are kinfolk. And of course, he is totally outnumbered. Totally outnumbered. Do you think he's going to make himself a stink? Even let's just assume that he does actually have a brotherly heart, right? Some skin in the game, that he has some empathy for his fellow brethren. Do you think he's going to try and, knowing that he's going to be the only one to dissent, you think he's going to try to be the odd one out the club? Knowing then that the people that are appointing him and know where he lives and whatnot all agree with this court's decision, all share the views of this court. But I don't even think he's kinfolk. I think he's treacherous. Anyways, moving right along. Evanston. We're going to talk about Evanston again with reparations. Listen to this. First in nation. Excuse me, reparations program is unfair to residents who aren't black, lawsuit says. So real quick, I released a little short video on this. The suburb of Chicago basically was like, you know what? Yeah, we had discriminatory practices against black people. We're going to try and make it right. We are offering cash grants of $25,000 to descendants of residents, or to either living or descendants of residents, of this area. If you were black and you descended from black people that were living in this area, you qualify for reparations, right? $25,000. Again, as I said in my previous mention of this, not a great amount, not a huge amount, especially with inflation and the cost of living in the Chicago area, but it's something, right? It is something. And, well, anyway, let's move on. A lawsuit filed by there it is again, conservative. I mean, we live rent-free in these people's heads. Conservative activist group claims a Chicago suburb discriminated against residents who are not black when it paid nearly $5 million in reparations to some black residents in recent years as a part of an ongoing program. Right? So they're like, but it's not fair. We want reparations too. Did you hear about this when Japanese got paid? Did we hear anything about this? Were any conservative groups suing Japanese, or suing the structures that gave the Japanese payouts? Were any conservatives suing any state government official or body for the billions and billions and billions of dollars that we're giving to the Khazars? Did you hear any of this? No, of course not. Only the Negro. Evanston, Illinois in 2020 became the first city in America to offer reparations to Black Americans, including descendants of Black residents who lived in town between 1919 and 1969, when the city banned housing discrimination. The program has provided 193 residents subjected to discrimination with $25,000 each in housing relief. Okay? So that's that story in a nutshell. But if we go back here, because I like how this section puts it, because it mentions it, right? This article that we just, with the Tulsa race riot that we just read, mentions Evanston, Illinois, right? Right here, Evanston, Illinois, which in 2019 became the first city in the country to offer monetary grants to Black residents, right? But if we go to the next paragraph, controversy follows these initiatives, meaning the reparations initiatives. In June 2024, several white residents of Evanston, represented by the conservative litigation group Judicial Watch, sued the city in federal court. They argue that Evanston's reparations program illegally uses race as a criterion for distributing compensation, thereby excluding white residents in violation of the Equal Protection Clause of the 14th Amendment. Other local reparations programs have been criticized for offering compensation to residents without requiring specific evidence of present-day race-based harm. None of which you will find mentioning Khazars or Native Americans. They do not care when it comes to other people, right? Only us. So this is what I'm saying. The Most High is giving so many chances, right? And every time a payment or some kind of way for us to get ahead, or not even get ahead, to get even, really, for a way for us to get even or to get some justice in an actual tangible sense, in a tangible way, every time that comes up, they fight it. They either change the law, like I said, they pull the rug out from under our feet, they move the goalpost, they sue. And these are the same people, right? These are the same people that are upset when alphabet people go to Christian bakeries and say, hey, make me an alphabet cake with my alphabet partner on it. And knowing that the Christian bakeries, hey, we don't do that. We'll make you the cake, but we're not going to depict, your alphabet lifestyle on this cake. And then the alphabet people go, okay, fine, I'm going to sue. And conservatives are like, what's wrong with them? Why would they go to that, to a Christian bakery? Don't they know that the Christian bakery only promotes Christian values and they don't do that? Why wouldn't they just go to a different bakery? And yet we have white people, white residents, knowing that this program is specifically for Black residents, Black descendants, because of the harm that was caused, which was not caused to the white residents. It was not perpetrated against the white residents, but solely against the Black residents. You have them coming in, well, I want it too. This isn't fair. Just like they did with the Fearless Fund when they sued the Fearless Fund. But oh my goodness, I didn't even include the Fearless Fund in this thing, but I should have. But back to Evanston's story. Yep. Let's not read this whole thing. The lawsuit filed by the national nonprofit American conservative activist group Judicial Watch alleges a number of complaints about the town's reparation program, including a claim that it violates the 14th Amendment of the Constitution. It was filed on behalf of 6 people, white people, who do not identify as Black or African American and whose families lived in town between 1919 and 1969, the claims reads. The group filed the lawsuit on May 23rd. So can these people provide evidence of discrimination, of race-based housing discrimination, of race-based segregation, of race-based deprivation of rights, liberty, property? Can they provide any of that happened to them like it happened to the Black residents for whom this program is for? Can they do that? Can they provide that? We all know the answer. And I did show this in my other video, but I'll just quickly pull it up, right? Because where is that? Violating the 14th Amendment. Let's just paste this into my search bar. 14th Amendment. If it'll load. Right? The 14th Amendment. All persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States of the state wherein they reside. No state shall make or enforce any law which shall abridge the privileges or immunities of citizens of the United States, nor shall any state deprive any person of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, nor deny to any person within its jurisdiction the equal protection of the laws. Where does this program violate that? It doesn't. They're jumping through hoops. They're trying anything they can to stop it, to stop us. Anything and everything. So, I mean, just looking at all these stories in totality, something is going on. And I believe that something is the approach of our departure and the return of Yeshua. Yes, I said it. Do I make a prediction? Absolutely not. No man knoweth the day or the hour. But it's seeming not too far off, because all those stories that we just went through, all of these stories that happened within, like I said, the last 6 weeks at most, right? At most, and I don't think it's even that far, but let's just say for argument, last 6 weeks, things that have happened, violence against our people, discrimination against our people, racism against our people, casual, blatant, in-your-face racism, discrimination, snatching away of rights. Oh, we were alive, survivors of this. Well, but too bad, we're not going to pay you anyways. Even though you were alive, even though the city helped you, or helped the rioters. The city helped the rioters, helped the destruction. We're not gonna hold your lawsuit. We're not gonna give you compensation. Oh, you guys are getting paid reparations over in Evanston? There's actually reparations going through? Oh, no. That's discriminatory against us. Nope, we can't have that. Can't have that. Nope. Wickedness. The wickedness, and the wickedness will not go unpunished. And, I mean, I feel sorry for some, well, I will, I don't right now, but I'm sure I'll feel sorry for some of these people when the judgment comes upon them. Because it's not going to look pretty. I was just reading, well, actually, my wife and I were just reading earlier today about the spies that went and brought up the evil report in the land of Canaan. And then the Lord killed them because they brought an evil report and convinced everyone else that, oh, no, we can't do it. The land is good, but we can't conquer the land. Oh, no, we can't do it. We were better off in Egypt. And God killed them for that. He killed actual Israelites, bloodline Israelites, for that. How much worse do you think it's going to be for people that continually lie against his people and him, continually afflict his people, continually persecute his people, kill his people, deprive and deny his people of rights and liberty? How much worse a judgment do you think it is going to be for these people that continually do this stuff and hold themselves not guilty? It's not going to be pretty. It is not going to be pretty at all. But like I said, I think Minister Yacobo was right when he says, hey, reparations has been decided, pretty much, basically. Reparations has been decided by the high ups, right? Not to people, not like your local mayor or even your state mayor, but high people in positions of great power. It's already been decided because they know that we're going to get the Most High has promised us reparations. It's already been decided, which is why so many people, counties and cities, whatever, are talking about it now. Or, even though the commissions, the task force, whatever you want to say, they're not necessarily doing anything tangible yet. It's been decided, so the legislation is tentatively being introduced. And in like the first, some small cases like this, well, actually, this is like the only case of its kind in Evanston. It's actually tried to go through, and they're still trying to stop it. And, before we close off, I just wanted to show an image I found online. This perfectly encapsulates our situation, right? Holocaust, never forget, right? Pearl Harbor, never forget. 9/11, never forget. Slavery, get over it. Yeah, that's it exactly. All right, well, if you guys have enjoyed this little presentation of sorts, please like, share, and subscribe. Let me know what you think. Do you have any thoughts on this? What do you feel a change? Do you feel that we are close to our departure? That we are close to getting paid? That we are close to the Most High's return? Or do you think, nah, not really? We still got a lot of affliction and such to go through. Do you think? Are you ready to leave? Is your heart right? Or are you going to be caught up in the judgment as well? Let me know. Share this video with, those who you can. I know you can't share it with everyone, but, those who you can, share the video. I will see you guys in the next one. I have a few things coming down the pipe, but, all this stuff takes time. But, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. This has been The Israelite in America. Bye-bye.